All right, but yeah, K Michelle, the lady, she went to Nashville and she was crying about black family. She said black men don't love her, and she had to take her butt out because her butt was too swole.
That's not the case, son. She had a butt reduction.
She had a booty reduction, and apparently she said she liked R. Kelly peeing on her. And
she didn't say allegedly.
Loved Robert Kelly.
Were you and R. Kelly ever intimate?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think it is mothers and people should be held accountable. I sit there and witness it. No, I don't know. I wasn't there.
Should Sparkle go to prison?
Absolutely. I've always been the one that will tell the truth.
And she naked under her jacket. Allegedly. Shout out to Reba TV.
What's up, guys? It's Reba, and I'm back again with another video. Now, R&B and country singer K Michelle has been making her PR rounds recently because she has just been added back to a reality franchise. She used to be on Love and Hip Hop, and now currently she is on the newest season of Real Housewives of Atlanta. So during
she with the Real Housewives. They got a.
Is she married?
A leopard. They don't got to be housewives to be on the Housewives. And I just saw one of it's. First of all, it's gone too far. They done ran out of stuff to talk about. I saw the Real Housewives.
So they just fight
of New Hampshire. They going everywhere.
Vermont.
Yeah, they do. No bullshit. So, but Atlanta was one of the more popular ones. No, they're not housewives. That's just the name of the show. Almost none of them are wives. Let alone housewives.
Or been wives.
Right. Mm-hmm. But, she's in there. Okay, she got a booty out. Don't forget about that.
She don't have a booty out, man.
Not exposed. I mean, out of the butt skin.
Press run, she did a sit down with Jason Lee in which they talked about a plethora of different things, but most importantly they talked about her relationship with artist, producer, music and R&B pioneer,
the late great
Kelly. And
no, late great, not Debs. Some don't say like that. The late great, like he gone already. He just locked up
till he.
The stuff that she said about him in support of him or in defense of him has women furious with her. So we're going to go ahead and dive into the entire conversation. I'm going to press play, pause, play, then give you guys my thoughts, my feelings, and my opinion on this entire situation.
Give it to us.
I loved Robert Kelly. I loved him.
She got a Twizzler stick?
And everyone knew that. I loved...
Like loved in love?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I loved him.
Now, as you can see, right? Even if she just said this and didn't say anything more, people were already going to be infuriated by the fact that she's talking about him.
Black women were infuriated, not women. She said women were upset and people, black women was upset. I don't know why.
They used to love R. Kelly.
They used to love R. Kelly too.
They used to love, even after the first pissing when the tape came out, it wasn't, this one he locked up now is not even for piss.
Why you keep mentioning that, man? That's not, it's for being with underage girls. Right. Is why he.
But this time he's not locked up for that. This one he right here was for, they was of age like barely, but it was some kind of manipulation cult sort of situation he was with.
Right.
This ain't the original piss on the
this one he got the fresh 20 years or something.
Yeah, he 30, I think they gave him. Dang. But this one wasn't the same thing. I mean, they were young, but they wasn't like the first time.
But what she's mentioning is what Michelle K is mentioning is at the time she was in love with R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Despite his indiscretions or whatever he was doing with the younger
and 50% of the women that if y'all mad now, if he was old enough, y'all was feeling the same way. I seen it. I remember I was tripping like y'all don't care.
In such love and adoration, right? But then she continued to break down the reasons why she has these feelings. Her eyes started to well up with tears as she kind of talked about the fact that he was a protector for her.
To watch a man take me from an abusive person and say you're not gonna abuse her. I don't know what. You know what I'm saying?
Now, obviously, we can hear the authenticity in her conversation, right?
Okay.
She's just saying is R. Kelly was nice to me.
And she welling up with tears again.
She like, I don't know what he did to your hoes, but
he only peed on me twice.
Right. That wasn't even that hot.
Like, we can genuinely see and hear and feel the fact that she is unapologetically taking a stance to defend somebody that, stepped in the gap for her in ways that maybe other people, didn't do that. She talked about it multiple times that she was in a tricky situation, with somebody who was managing her career.
If a person saved you from another abusive person.
and then the fact that she was able to then, garner the attention of the likes of an R. Kelly, who also helped her and supported her and protected her. She has a different stance compared to, everybody else that endured situations from him or alongside him. She also made mention of something that was very interesting, in that she brought up the fact that she believes that there's more to the story as to why he actually was incarcerated than a lot of people actually know.
When it comes to him, I just remember listening to Michael Jackson records that are not released. And I'm going to leave it at that. Y'all found a tape, but y'all didn't find them records.
Now, this is basically...
She thinks she part of
conspiracy theory.
Yeah, the same people that got Mike.
And Prince.
And Prince, too.
And Whitney Houston. And,
right.
Oh.
Yeah, it's assassins.
Leading into implications of the fact that maybe, it was a grander scheme, right? Like, she is coming from the narrative that maybe it was a grander scheme. It wasn't just because of, what he did or what he didn't do, or because of, these things that were taking place. It was actually, bigger games at play, right? This is the narrative that she's coming from. And, regardless of whatever the situation is, she also, was very, considerate of the women who endured certain things. She talked about, the fact that, she is not saying that those situations weren't necessarily true, but she was talking about from her own experience. She also called him out for his behaviors.
I feel like R. Kelly is wrong, and it's horrible. Horrible. Did I sit there and witness it? No, I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't there. But did I check on women and say, are y'all okay? Or just what I did?
Now, this is important, right? Because all these clips are going viral all over social media. And she was, very, intentional on talking about the fact that even though she wasn't there, she wasn't privy to, she didn't witness, she still made phone calls to people to make sure that they were okay. She had empathy for the women who were going through, certain situations, even though she did not have that same shared experience.
To hear what happened to those women and family, I hurt so bad for those women. And I just hurt for all parties involved.
You think she lying? She don't really care.
It's not that I think she's lying, son. It's a lot of different components to this, man. A lot of those young... So imagine, if you will, a young underage girl going to an R. Kelly concert or being in R. Kelly's presence, knowing the reputation that this man had. Where her parents at? A lot of those young girls don't understand. And get her folks was they I'm gonna say selling them off.
And that's basically what K. Michelle's saying.
Yeah, man. Come on, man. All that. I mean, we all have sympathy. I think it's a terrible thing, also. But she'll start crying for nothing, man. K. Michelle start crying.
She could be just being brutally honest, and people just ain't ready to hear it.
Maybe they ain't ready to hear it.
She love him. She probably still love him. And he was wrong, but so was a bunch of other people.
or she got this new show coming out. They need some traction. They need some motion. She talking about
that's the pure reason she's on the thing during the interview.
Yeah, but R. Kelly, but R. Kelly though.
He asked him, but then again, nobody asks nothing spontaneous. They talk about R.
Right. Right.
Now this is where things are taking a steep turn. Okay. The fact
Eat
that
peach.
she said that and vocalized, right, publicly, that she feels bad for all parties involved. That's where people are starting to have the problem, because not only is she showing that she still has care and, she still cares for, R. Kelly in this way as well as the victims.
And imagine standing in a booth, and you look up and you see your mentor being taken into jail. No one ever thinks about how that made people or anything feel. He got an answer for what he did or whatever. And I don't think people understand.
But she also did not hesitate to call out some of the other people that she feel like should have been incarcerated behind these situations, and not just R. Kelly himself.
I think it is mothers, and people should be held accountable. I do.
Should Sparkle go to prison?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Did you want me to say something else?
Now, this is a big deal. Okay, this is a big deal because Sparkle is a singer, and her niece is one of R. Kelly's alleged victims. And
her niece is the original
little girl,
right? Yeah.
actually, it's very interesting that K. Michelle is saying, well, if R. Kelly got to go to jail, then Sparkle got to go to jail. Right? Some of the mothers that were bringing their children to the studios, you know, and leaving them there, hoping that some way, somehow, they're going to make it big with this man, they should also be held accountable, right? And so she's saying that, and it's actually coming right off the cuffs of an interview happening where Sparkle's niece, again, one of the alleged victims, actually called her out and said that it was her who propositioned her to interact with R. Kelly in a certain way when she was young.
You say your aunt told you the next time we're at the studio, you should ask Robert to be your godfather. Aunt Sparkle explained that I should sit on his lap and rub his head while I asked him to be my godfather.
That is the start of him entering into my life in a different way than just being an artist or hanging out at the studio. It became more personable at that moment.
Wow. That's crazy. So, yeah, somebody should be held liable. Yeah, she was grooming her. She was
saying Maxwell, though.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Shout out Melania Trump.
Now, this is the thing. Okay, if we're going to be honest, we have to be honest across the board, and we have to be truthful. There should be no reason why and this is just my personal opinion, okay? There should be no reason why any woman should have her young niece go sitting on any man's lap. It don't matter who it is. It don't matter if it's Santa Claus.
Why are you suggesting that even?
That's just my own personal opinion.
Especially when you close enough to him to know
how he gets.
Because he was messing with Sparkle, right?
At one point. Yo, they did a joint
with that. So she was close enough to the dude to
know how he get down.
He likes something young. I got something even better for him.
I watched a joint where they interviewed a couple of R. Kelly's backup dancers at the time, and the sister was like, yo, I've watched when we come after. She said it droves of women backstage after the show to see and meet R. Kelly. She said he would pick the youngest adolescent, pimple-faced young girl out of the crowd and take them with him to be with all out of all of these women,
grown women,
and they know that. They know how he get down, man.
Right. So, especially if she close enough that she's sleeping with him and she with him. You just overlooked it. Matter of fact, now that you overlooked it, you saw it and brought crazy.
Right? I don't think that there should be any kind of proximity with young girls and grown men in that way. That's just my upbringing. Right. That's just my opinion. That's just my own thought process. So K. Michelle saying like, okay, if we are going to hold him accountable, fine. Right? 100% fine. She's never said, that he shouldn't be held accountable. She's never said that she doesn't empathize with those women. She says that what he, did and all of the allegations against him are absolutely horrible.
To hear what happened to those women and family, I hurt so bad for those women.
But she's also saying in that same breath that he did not just sit there where he was on his own and just snap his fingers or go to schools and go pick up girls and bring them to his vicinity. Though. There were other active.
Yeah.
I heard different though.
I heard he was a regular.
Yeah. He go by the high schools and because he could hoop. Kelly could hoop. He could ball. So he would go to the high schools and allegedly.
Allegations.
Yeah. Did he? Yeah. He
one of them.
People like that, they put themselves in places and positions to be around children and, like you say, vulnerable people. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I always said that about Catholicism in the church, and the reason that happens so much there because they keep secrecy, and people who think like that's a predator. It's like that's the job for me,
right?
That's the job.
Schools, daycare centers, camps.
People trust them,
right. Terrible, man.
Players who were active participants in these situations who should also be held accountable, right? And so Sparkle has spoken out before and has basically claimed that she did not know anything that was going on. Even though she was there, she never thought anything of it.
Barry Hankerson is right there. That's Aaliyah's uncle, blood uncle. Her parents are there. Who's thinking to be looking for anything? You know what I mean? So I wasn't thinking about anything outside that's going on. You know what I mean? So no, I didn't see nothing at all.
Now,
of course you ain't seen nothing. You ain't see nothing like I'll point you whistle type thing.
So I wasn't thinking about anything outside that's going on. You know what I mean? So no, I didn't see nothing at all.
Now, I mean, that's neither here nor there at this point, but I do think that all of these details absolutely matter, right? Like, if it's a situation where there was other people who were purposely, right, putting certain women in position and doing some kind of hookups, right, for the lack of better words, I think that they should absolutely also be held accountable. I think that's 100% the truth in this situation.
Hell yeah.
Well, obviously, K. Michelle also talked about the fact that her and R. Kelly were not just friends; that they also had certain kind of relationship.
Were you and R. Kelly ever intimate?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love him. My truth with Robert Sylvester Kelly, his thing never with me was any type of abuse or anything like that. I wasn't the woman he wanted, even though.
He was too old.
I did.
Women get villainized for being honest about their situations that they have with people, just because it doesn't go with the narrative of what everybody else is saying, right?
I feel like I've always been the one that people know will tell the truth, will be this and that. And I feel like that has stifled my career.
There were a lot of women back in the day, not just people who were in close proximity to him, obviously people who didn't know him, in an intimate setting or didn't know what was going on, who had crushes on R. Kelly. Women were absolutely in love with R. Kelly. And
I'll even go so far as this. I feel like when the allegations came out, that almost excited a certain amount of women.
You think so?
Yeah. He danced. He just...
Wow.
That girl knew what she was doing. How many women... matter of fact, I've almost only heard women say that. I've heard some dudes try to justify it. How old is 14 really and all this other stuff. But more women than men, by far, I've heard say stuff like she knew what she was doing. Hiding the ass. Her young ass. She knew what she was doing. Listen, his biggest records came after that.
Yeah, that's true. That's Mr. Bump and Grind.
Shit, from day one it was always like that.
The Pied Piper of R&B.
He said he was Pied Piper after the tape.
That's real talk. And they was following him too.
You ask them now, they're going to be like, oh no, I never liked him like that, or oh no, it was never like that. When you having some kind of admiration for a person or a liking for a certain person, it doesn't mean that you were there doing the crimes with them. Like, you don't have to lie about it. It doesn't mean that you were there and you knew all the things that were, allegedly going on at that time. So, acting like that's not the truth in these situations is very interesting. And so she's standing there like, yeah, that's the truth. I loved him. I loved who he was. I loved what he stand for. I loved his mind. I loved all of the above.
I did. I thought he was the most genius of creatures. Like, when things go down.
If he was only 10, 20 years younger.
Right. You be on the team,
right?
Kid.
And mind you, she's probably in her 20s then.
Right.
She's like,
cut it out, son. Cut it out, man.
And you watch a real